Thanks so much for watching our show. We really appreciate the support. It costs a lot to produce, so we're asking for donations and pledges here on Patreon. Thanks again. Welcome back to See It and Feel It with Dr. Brett.
We're getting to see what really is COVID and what's not COVID related.
Yeah. How would it affect you guys as new parents here? You know, I'm just curious how going into 2021 as like new parents, how is it going to be different, or how is it different already?
I think as a new parent, like it's not much different. I think it makes our life a little more convenient that we can stay home.
Yeah.
I see in the little guy, I just kind of want to stay home all day.
The little guy does, right?
I do.
Oh, I see.
I do. I want to stay home with him.
That's awesome.
But I can kind of do that. I can do things a little more remotely.
Yeah.
So that's good. Other than that, I'm more worried about when he gets older and school and that kind of thing. So I'm keeping an eye on how things play out.
Right. Well, we talked in the past. We've talked about the Bali, potential here.
Yeah.
Right. Because your mom's in Bali, and so raising his son in Bali.
Right. And I want to
and your wife is open to that.
Yeah, definitely. And I want to homeschool, or we're looking at alternative. Like she mentioned something called the Green School. I think that's. I think it's a unique program, but it's something like what are those, like Montessori,
a Waldorf program? So the kids are freer to sort of play at their own level or explore. Yeah, exactly. To do what feels right, not what's so structured, right?
Right.
Yeah, some of those programs are fascinating.
Right.
But then the hard part is at some point kids often transition into a more structured traditional school.
Yeah.
And that can be tricky, right?
Yeah.
There's always pluses and minuses to all of these.
If he needs the structure, it might be good, but starting off, I don't want him to have much. I want him to explore and learn how to do things that are important to him, but also just important for life, like how to grow food and cook. And I love math, but I feel like math and sub-sciences and stuff, I feel like all of that stuff kind of naturally unfolds. So like when we're cooking, he's going to learn a lot of math.
You're
when
going
we're
to teach
gardening,
him.
he's going to learn a lot of math,
Yeah, that's really cool. And then if he's living in Bali, he's going to learn what?
And chemistry and sciences and plants and language.
Language, right? What are they speaking in Bali? Hindi and Balinese? I mean, or is there?
I think
is it just Hindi?
Balinese.
Yeah.
Balinese. I think Hindi is mostly in India.
Okay.
Because Hindu is the religion, so Bali is Hindu.
Right.
But I think they speak Balinese.
Okay, and is that a dialect of?
Oh wait, it might be just Indonesian, to be honest. I think Indonesia.
Yeah, so or is it Balinese a blend? We don't know. We're just like, I'm just curious. We're all of a sudden like, you could tell that neither of us really know. I'm just sort of like going, is that now that you're talking about it?
Now that I think about it, I think Indonesia speaks one language.
Okay, cool. Very cool.
There might be dialects.
Yeah. And what would be your backup choice besides Bali? If Bali was off the map, your mom moved to another, culture or country.
Well, that's the bonus. My mom being there is the bonus.
Right.
So it's not the deciding factor. But for me, I'd like to live in definitely when he gets older, I'd like to live in India for some time. I think it's a great place for kids, and it's just so colorful. And like I said, I don't know if this got lost in the last episode, but such a free place.
Yeah.
Almost like Jamaica, or I think Bali's
so it's freer in terms of what? The energy, the way the people are more open, right? Mm-hmm. More accepting? Are people more accepting?
Definitely. Wow. Indian parents let their kids do whatever. It's kind of obnoxious to a point. Like you'll see Indian kids at restaurants running around and being loud.
Oh, really? So it's like a movie in Bollywood or whatever.
Almost.
But there is some sexual repression, though, right, in some of these cultures too, right? So there is they're not quite as open, right? It's not like
I think that's a lot more in. I think this got lost in the last episode too, but there's a lot more openness in the cities and in urban areas where it's more it's just more modern.
Right.
And in the traditional areas, they're more um, they follow things like the caste system
Right.
and the religious beliefs and stuff.
Mm.
Like in India, for example,
Yeah.
for the rural areas there compared to the city.
Hmm.
Whereas in New York, you have like, in the city, you'll run across. I mean, you see Indian couples, and you definitely know that the woman wears the pants in that relationship, or
I think
you have just city girls that have as much attitude as a Latino woman.
that's funny. That's funny.
So it's not as, I don't think it's as bad as as it seems in the West, or as the media makes it out to be in the West.
Interesting.
Yeah. I don't
Yeah.
think it's as bad as it
Okay,
comes
so
off.
so Bali or somewhere, would you go back to northern India, or would you
When
try
he gets
another part of
older,
India?
maybe when he gets older, like India has great schools.
Mm.
But I would explore Spain, Portugal.
Wow. I've heard such wonderful things about Lisbon, right? Like
Yeah, I haven't
such
been to
a
Spain,
yeah.
Portugal.
I've never been there either, but so many
Yeah,
people tell me how wonderful it
yeah,
is,
I hear great. I
right?
get great vibes.
Inexpensive too to live there, right?
Hmm.
Which is kind of nice. In America here, there's so much pressure economically. It's really intense.
It's like you're working to live, or you're living to work.
Hmm.
Which one is that?
Working, we work to live, and Europeans in general like live to work. I mean,
Other
they
way
work
around.
yeah. We
live for the sake of working.
right. We live to work,
live to
and they
work.
work to live.
Right.
Right. Exactly.
Right.
Um,
They work so they can live their life and
Yeah.
enjoy their lives.
Yeah.
We live so we can work and
Yeah.
pay bills.
I mean, I have like several European friends, and they, sometimes with Americans, they're just like, you just don't like get it, man. Like, I have this Austrian friend who's like always like, man, you just like, like when you ask how are you? Like Americans don't mean it, right? Like they
It's a
slow
greeting.
down and mean it.
It's a greeting.
right?
It's not a question here. No one's
Yeah.
asking. No one's listening for
How
a
you
response.
doing? Like no one's paying it,
Yeah, they say that and walk by.
Yeah.
They're not waiting for
My
the
buddy
response.
Christoph, like when we lived together in San Diego 25 years ago, whatever, he would get just like, he could never adjust. He was upset about it like 9 months later. Like, he'd be like, you Americans, man, you just don't
It still
get it.
gets me. Sometimes I
Yeah.
pause. I'm like, okay, they don't care how I'm doing.
No, they, a lot of times they don't, right? I actually make an effort to like slow down. So one of the things I do intentionally is to make that effort to say, how you doing? And actually mean it.
If you're asking,
Because,
to
actually
get a
mean it.
response, right?
Yeah, totally. 100%. What else are you going to do differently here? Have you and your wife talked about with the baby, maybe homeschooling, maybe international, or you have other plan, maybe like, a Waldorf or a Montessori program. You guys are interesting. They don't even have a pediatrician yet. So,
Working on it.
I mean, they're definitely out of the box here. So I'm thinking maybe in other ways, are they going to be learning a foreign language right away? Is Zarif going to be learning a foreign language immediately?
We're definitely going to speak some Spanish at home.
Yeah.
Jess is
Cuban. His wife is
Mom
Cuban.
is Cuban.
Mm-hmm.
And her mom doesn't speak much English, so when the grandma comes, they'll definitely be speaking
Okay, so Spanish will be pretty like a part of his,
yeah.
like
And patois, if you count that.
patois.
Jamaican dialect.
Wow.
And as you know, my dad lives in Germany, so
I count patois because I can't understand it. So like,
a lot of people count it. So my
and
sisters,
your dad is in Germany.
Yeah, my sisters were born there, and that's their first language. So I'm sure they'll
Do
spend
you know
some time.
enough German to be able to teach your son German?
I wouldn't say I can teach him, but I'm sure we'll spend some time there.
Yeah.
And he'll be picking it up.
Fantastic. Yeah, and you'll go there hopefully within a year or so when this COVID thing gets a little easier. Yeah. So
exactly.
Right. Anything else you want to say about this whole experience before we wrap up? We want to make sure this one is good to go. We don't want to mess this up.
Oh man.
So to close, what do you want to say about this experience of childbirth or being a dad, or just what it was like? I don't know.
Well, what it was like, it's just such an amazing experience. I've never felt so much love. It's like,
wow.
I'm pretty sure I've cried more than the baby. Even now, it's been 2 days. I've cried more than the baby.
Wow, it's pretty cool.
He's peaceful. He hasn't cried much.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But it's such an amazing experience to bring new life and to be able to guide new life into this world.
Yeah, and to do it right as well, right?
Right.
With presence
So,
and peace and like creativity and mindfulness and right and commitment. Right.
Right. And so it reminds me to open up to all the possibilities of life. You know, as adults, we think we know things.
Yeah.
You know, we think we know things. We have all these things that we think life works, or the things we think the way things should be. But really, we get to learn it. We get, as a parent now, we get to learn life all over.
Yeah, you got to start over and maybe,
And
we
they
get a chance to do it.
They get to teach us.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. That's a great, like, wrap up right there. Like to stay open and to be present and to allow the children to teach us. What?
Whether you have kids or not, you can always stay open and always learn new possibilities.
And get more and more present, right, as well.
Yeah.
So staying in the moment and being open and allowing life to unfold as naturally as possible. Jamal, congratulations, Jamal Hayes.
Pleasure.
And I'm Dr. Brett. Thanks. Thanks for watching See It and Feel It with me, Dr. Brett. If you enjoyed this video, remember to like, subscribe, or share it with a friend.